everybody. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dominique, and you are watching Black Girl Reviews. Okay, so my last video, I want to say I was explaining how I was changing things around on my channel, and then I disappeared. But I am back. I know what I want to talk about, and right now I want to talk about why Real Housewives of Atlanta is flopping. They are in their flop era. And I'm seeing a lot of people blame Britt Edie. I'm seeing a lot of people blame Kenya. I'm seeing different viewpoints, but I think I think it's deeper than that. I think it could be a number of things. I don't have the answers on why they're in their flop era because they are. I'm gonna put the little title from Love B. Scott right above my face, or right here right here. Love B. Scott said, "This is what they say." Hold on, let me pull it up. I said, "Real Housewives season 16 ratings continue to dive as viewers reject reboot. Bravo scrambles to spin the numbers." Okay, so I'm not making this up. Okay, I saw this topic and I want to discuss it. Okay, so first, who do I want to blame? I'm gonna start with the production company, Truly Original. Okay, I did my research on Truly Original. I didn't want to just be like, oh, production company, shame on you, production. No, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to actually do a little research, figure out who is Truly Original. Okay, like, who are you, and what you about? Like, how many? I actually never did a deep dive on different production companies, but I honestly knew that Real Housewives of Atlanta and Real Housewives of Potomac is under the same production company, which is Truly Original. And last season of Potomac, it was a flop era as well. Like, it was a very flop era. So, I'm not surprised that the same flop of a production company is producing Real Housewives of Atlanta. And I did my research, and I don't want to judge, people off of race and be like, oh, because you're white, you can't do X, Y, and Z, and because you're black, you can't do X, Y, and Z. But after watching Sinners, okay, watch as I go with this, right? After watching Sinners and seeing Ryan Coogler, pretty much depict black characters in the eye of a black director. And I know that's different between producers, reality TV. Everybody like, what are you talking about, girl? But what I'm saying is, I feel like Real Housewives of Atlanta and Real Housewives of Potomac is in a flop era, and it's due to one, Truly Original. Like I feel like the president and co-founders of Truly Original are white. Okay, so honestly, I don't want to say y'all don't care. I feel like Dominique put the Kanye West saying Bush don't care about black.
George Bush doesn't care about black people. Please call. In the past few days.
That's how I feel with Truly Original. Instead of saying President Bush don't care about black people, Truly Original, in my opinion, don't care about black folks. But I could be wrong. This is just an opinion. It's based off of my mind, okay? To break down Truly Original, they are also the producers of Summer House, Escape, Still Kicking It, messy. Summer House, messy. Don't Be Tardy for the Party, messy. Shaws of Sunset, ooh. Oh my goodness, y'all. I used to love Shaws of Sunset, and honestly, the same thing that happened with Kenya happened to Shaws of Sunset. The whole entire show was canceled. But if you watch that last season of Shahs of Sunset, you know what I'm talking about. And you know it's the same kind of thing. And Truly Original is part of that. If you didn't watch Shahs of Sunset, pretty much, I want to say the last season or close to the last season, one of the guys kind of like shamed one of the girls in the cast for her sexual escapades, and he shamed her out like loud at a party, like at a pool party. It was bad, y'all. But also, Truly Original is of course producing Potomac. I'm sorry, and they also is producing Portia. Well, produced Portia's two spinoffs. Portia Had a Baby and Portia's Family Matters. I want to say like that. And I want to go ahead and go to my next point of who I think is the reason for the flop era. And I want to blame Portia. She's not the only reason why they're flopping, but she is up there in the reason why Real Housewives of Atlanta this season is flopping. One, Portia is not loyal to anybody. Like every season, well, the last few seasons, Portia comes on the show like, "Oh, I love Kenya. I love Kenya. Oh, I just want me and Kenya to be friends," just to turn around and stab Kenya in the back and throw her under the bus. I'm not saying y'all need to be best friends, but working with each other for over 10 plus years isn't enough for loyalty. My second thought of Portia, due to the fact that I don't know why I'm using this pen, but I like it. So I'm sorry if it's distracting, but it's in there. So another thing with Portia, due to the fact that she is part of the production, like she had a spinoff with Truly Original, two spinoffs. I would consider her their little puppet production puppet, or like she's their little favorite. She is somebody they can rely on to do things that other women probably won't do, especially Kenya, for example. And they love that Portia is off the handles. Portia has dragged people from their hair to the ground. She chased one of her friends down a back alley to beat him up on camera. These are all camera instances. She purposely left Real Housewives of Atlanta to marry her co-worker's husband, right? But when Kenya left Real Housewives of Atlanta to marry someone, she was punished for leaving the show and not filming her wedding on the show. Which the same thing Portia did. Portia had two weddings. She had a traditional wedding and an African wedding. But granted, was it real? No, it was not real. She don't even know this man's real name. Okay? But she wasn't punished. Why is that? She wasn't punished because she is, according to my thought process, just a little, opinion. She's a production puppet. They like her. She's the production darling because she. Okay, I'm not going to say what I was about to say because I don't need to go that far to make my points, but you get what I'm saying. Okay? What else I can say about Portia? Like Portia literally was trying to fight Dennis' mama on her spinoff. So I'm just three different instances, and it's probably more of her getting violent. But yet, what Kenya did with the poster board deserved firing. I just need Truly Original to release their code of conduct, right? And that leads me on to my next point of who I blame in this situation. I blame Bravo, Peacock, Bravo, NBC. I think NBC is Peacock. I should have Googled that before. I can Google that right now. Let me see. Let me see. Is Bravo? Is Bravo? Let me bring my computer closer so I can stay in the frame. Okay. This is my desk. Actually, this is not my desk. This is not my desk. This is my living room and my dining room. Bravo NBC. Is Bravo NBC? Yes, Bravo is NBC. Okay, I don't know why I had to Google that, but I blame Bravo. Why do I blame Bravo? I blame Bravo because I believe that Bravo has allowed Truly Original, or not just Truly Original, any production company to have too much power. Okay, in my mind, Bravo should be HR. I'm not saying they're not, but Bravo should be what I say goes. And I'm pretty sure it is, but they have a lot of lackadaisically allowed Truly Original production company to run the reins, like control things on site. I guess you can say Bravo would be the headquarters, and then each production company is like the subsidiary of the headquarters. So I guess, like Walmart has a headquarters. You're not going to go to Walmart headquarters to buy things. You would just go to a local Walmart in your area. So, and I guess whenever, the major corporations like the CEO of whatever Walmart or Walgreens, I don't know which one I said, whenever they have a problem, they just go to, corporate. But I think Bravo, like, let's say, I believe that if Bravo would have stepped in with Kenya and handled Britt Eady, who was probably on set for less than 30 days, because it was only like 3 weeks of filming when she said that she had a pew, 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 pew. I wish I can do like special effects like pew, pew, like 30 days. I remember going to work, and don't you have a probation period where if you cross a line at any point between these, I think it was like a 90-day probation period. Like if you cross the line from here and now and you are being brought up to HR, you should be let go and not your star employee who is bringing in viewers. We're not watching Real Housewives for Britt Eady. Sorry, Britt, you caught a strike. Pew, pew. Okay, pow pow. I got a whips and I got pew pew. Girl, really? Okay. So we're not watching. We're watching it for the OGs. We're watching it for Cynthia. We're watching it for Portia, and we're watching it for Kenya. And at the time, we was watching for Candy, but she's no longer on the show. Grace, she doing her thing. So, speaking of Brit Diddy, I want to go to my next point of why I believe Real Housewives of Atlanta and kind of Potomac is failing in an internet flop era is because they're hiring fans of the show, which at this point in time is 2025. They have no choice but to hire fans because real wealthy people, like real wealthy people, I'm not talking about Brit Eady. I'm not talking about Kelly. No offense, Kelly. You just called it straight. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about real wealthy people. Like I heard rumors. I'm not sure if it's true. Like I heard rumors that they were trying to get Angela on the show for seasons, and she turned it down. So just imagine how many people they ask with real wealth and real status to be on this show, and they turn it down. But do you blame them? Like, especially if this they flop era, they ain't gonna recover. No, allegedly, I don't know, but I don't think they're gonna be able to recover from this whole debacle with Kenya and Britt Eady. It's giving Basketball Wives. And guess who produced Basketball Wives? Truly Original. Truly Original. Okay. So they don't have a choice because at this point, not every, I'm going to say every, but even people who don't watch Real Housewives of Atlanta know Real Housewives of Atlanta. For instance, my husband, he don't watch Real Housewives of Atlanta, but he know who Portia is. He know who Cynthia is. He know who Kenya is. He know who Candy Burris is. He know these people. He know them. So just imagine all of the other thousands and millions of people who they trying to recruit to be on this show, and they're like, I mean, I don't watch it all the time, but I know what this show is about, and I'm like, I'm not gonna join. Okay, I'm not gonna join. So this brings me to my last point. I don't think this is gonna be a long video. This brings me to my last point. My last point that I want to make in this video on why I think they're in a floppy era is because of the third wall has been broken. Okay, when Real Housewives of Atlanta made their way on the scene, it was fresh, it was new, it was vibrant, it was cute, it was like, ooh, what they gonna do next? What is this show about? Like, what are we gonna talk about? What are we gonna do? What y'all talking about? Like, we having light shade, like Phaedra not remembering her due date, or Nene going to Kenya's house and saying, ooh, the ghetto.
Ooh, the ghetto. The ghetto.
It was new, it was interesting, it was innovative. Yes, they had little moments where they was a little tussling, like when Nene pulled Kim's wig, like she tugged on that thing. But it wasn't nothing like, oh, I got whips, I got chains, I got like, girl, what? So right now, we know that when people are talking to people and then they look off like into the distance, we know that y'all looking at the producers. We know that. It's we know that. Nene broke the fourth wall. Is it the fourth or third? The third wall. The fourth wall? One of the walls. Nene broke the walls down. Okay. One of her last season when she didn't want people to film in her. I know this probably happened before then, but this is the pivotal moment where I feel like people started looking at Real Housewives differently. Is when Nene didn't want the cameraman in her closet, and they showed the cameraman, and they showed Nene pulling the cameraman. So that means that whole illusion of we're just flies on the wall watching these women kind of disappeared. And then I think that same season, Nene was at a pool party or something, and she was trying to leave, and production was like, where you going, Nene? Where you going? Where you going? And they was in the cameras, and it just kind of spoiled the experience, in my opinion. Okay? I think that's all of my points. But what I want to do is read some tweets from fans so I can prove to you guys that it's not just me doing it. Okay? The tweets right here underneath me so you can read along. Okay? So the first tweet, and I'm also going to give a little opinion, my own opinion about these tweets, okay? So the first tweet, it says, Portia pushes this Drew and Dennis issue so we won't have to discuss Simon. I agree with this tweet wholeheartedly. Like I said, Portia is production's puppet, allegedly, okay? So she can get away with not speaking about her life, which she can't even speak about her life at this point in time. So at the same time, I feel like, why is she not punished? Okay? Not only did you leave for a season or two, I'm not sure how long she left, to get married. You literally, the last time we saw you, you was stealing a woman's husband. You was at your co-worker's house, fist bumping her husband. And then the next time we see you, you already got married. You traveled the world. And now you're getting a divorce, and not only are you getting a divorce, you can't even talk about it, but yet you on the show getting upwards of maybe $1 million per episode. I don't know how much you get, but I'm pretty sure Truly Original, they love you, so I'm pretty sure they paying you really, really good. Okay, so her and this Drew and Dennis debacle, we're not believing it. That's another thing. The storylines are not believable. After Kenya, y'all used Kenya and her little mishap. I feel like y'all was thinking about possibly cutting her out of the show, and then y'all kept on filming and realized, oh, we ain't got nothing to talk about, and then y'all gonna keep bringing up Brit gonna keep bringing up the situation like we just supposed to just erase Kinka out of our minds, and then y'all gonna not give her confessionals, and then y'all not gonna invite her to the reunion so she can get her own words out there. Okay, so let's go to the next one. The next one says, I hate how the women, excluding Drew and Angela, be groveling at Portia's feet like she's the HBIC and they can't tell her nothing. Y'all scared of her or something? Yes, they are scared of her. They're scared that when she gets Henny in her system, she might drag you. She might pull your wig. But this new Portia I'm seeing is being afforded the opportunities to just run away. Or like at the last episode, she didn't say nothing. She didn't want to talk. She looking this way, then she looking that way. I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't remember. I can't recall. Girl, you're not on the stand. So yes, they are scared of her because production is. I guess allegedly it's well known that she is production's pet. So yeah, they scared of. Let's bring this to a corporate world. If you know, old girl is the HR's pet, and whatever she say to HR goes, yeah, they're gonna suck up to that person. Like, oh, you the big dog. Okay. Next, it says, having preconceived notions about Kenya, someone who you don't know nor ever met, is basically you admitting to being a fan of the show, talking about Brit Itty. And coming, a fan of the show, and coming trying. Y'all see that? I'm not the one that's. Let me start from, admitting to being a fan of the show and coming on and trying to have a problem with her because of her personality. Brit can really go after this season. We're good on her. Flop. Do y'all see that? Flop. Okay. Yes. That summed up what I was saying about, hiring fans of the show. Like I said, it's kind of hard not to, but Brit Edie is a little too much aggressive for me. Okay, you always wanna. What you talking about? Read the room. Read the room, girl. Who you talking to? We all grown up in here. Okay, what are you? Read the room. Read the room, girl. Okay, Brit, Miss Edie. Okay, next one. Portia return to the show has been a flop. Mind you, I took these screenshots today. So this one says a day ago. So that means as of yesterday, someone said the show has been a what? Flop. Okay. And clearly shows her inability to anchor the show. Her energy is off and she's giving friend of this season, which is true. I feel like once production found out that she could not film in her house. But first of all, when does filming in a house make you like, okay, I know that Simon said you cannot talk about me on this show. Okay, I get that. And I know you can film in a house because Simon stopped you. But why is that your only storyline? So when production called you back for a meeting to ask you, oh, you want to be back? Oh, okay, what are we going to talk about? Because the Drew and Dennis thing happened while filming. So you tell me True Original didn't meet up with all of the cast members to ask them, okay, what you got going on in your life? What can you talk about legally on the show? No, of course they did. But since she is production's pet, she's allowed to just not talk about nothing. Speaking of that, I believe on the last episode where Portia had a phone call had a phone call from, she didn't say from who, and told her that Drew and Dennis was still filming together. She didn't get no phone call. Production said, hey, Portia, allegedly. Hey, Portia. And in my opinion, because I don't know, I wasn't there, but this is what I think happened. Hey, Portia. Girl, I don't want to tell you this, but since we're here and it's boring and you are not engaging, and she still didn't engage, Portia and Dennis, I mean, not Portia, Drew and Dennis is still filming together behind your back. Can you believe it? But you didn't hear that from me. When they asked you where you heard it from, say it was a phone call. Just like I think production knew that Kenya had them poster boards and what was on the poster boards, and they allowed it to go on, and then all of a sudden, oh my gosh, what? Okay, moving on. Did I skip too fast? Okay, right here. Worst in this season was produced the worst ratings. Okay, so this tweet was a response to another tweet. So what I'm gonna do is just go to the bottom part because you're not gonna understand what they mean by worse in this season. Oh, well, they were saying like something was worse than what the other person tweeted. So the show is actually worse than what they feel like it is. And this season has produced the worst ratings in the show's entire history. This screenshot was a day ago, which means that happened yesterday, which that means conversations of this show being a flop, it's ongoing. I'm not making this up. So I really just took the screenshot for it to say this season has produced the worst ratings in the show's entire history, which is true. Okay, the next tweet is, this is probably the worst season of Real Housewives of Atlanta to date. I hate to say it, but they really need to pick it up. They need to pick it up. Sorry, let me go back. Y'all, please bear with me. This is probably the worst season of Real Housewives of Atlanta to date. I hate to say it, but they really need to pick up the phone and call Nene. Like, I actually started to feel bad for Portia having to pull out all these fake beefs to keep the show going. Fake beefs. This whole Drew, Dennis, you need my baby daddy, you need to, this is family over opportunity, girl. All right. Next tweet says, this season started off strong, but now it has fell flat. That was a day ago. I just took that screenshot before I came on here to discuss this because I needed to make sure that, I had all my evidence, and I just want to show that I'm not the one that's coming up with this. Okay, this is another screenshot I did. I think I screenshotted this part. Yes, that's Jalen Hurts down here. It says, Angela is carrying the season on her back after Kenya exited the show. Portia is giving friend of, Britt is crying all the blank time, and Shamia is always taking care of Portia. Angela is becoming the new supreme of the ATL. Okay, I agree. I like Angela. Angela is doing her best. Okay, Angela is getting information from production telling her, look, right, Drew, this is a cash trip, but we just gonna act like Portia, this is her birthday. So this is a video that I'm pulling up of Giselle Bryant. She is agreeing that Britt Eady should have been fired immediately, and that would have kept Kenya on the show because they would have handled the situation. Let's listen to what she had to say, okay? And I'm gonna give my commentary on that after she's done.
You hopeful that Kenya will come back to Atlanta?
I would like that, and
Yeah.
I'll give you my 2 cents on that.
Okay.
We had Kenya who called Pistol Girl a peasant.
Yes.
But that's kind of like a rite of passage. Like, Kenya's probably called me a peasant at one point in time. I'm not even on the show, right?
Same. Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, thank you, right?
Yeah.
And that was turned into, I'm gonna get a pistol, right? That's like, wow.
That's yeah.
So had she been, this is also a person that's probably not been with Bravo for more than 30 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of like you should have been fired on the spot.
For the pistol comment. Yeah.
And so we never would have gotten to the
Hair care moment.
hair care moment. You know what I'm saying? Like we should
Yeah.
never even gotten there because that should have been nipped in the bud immediately. It would
Right.
have been on Potomac. I'm going to say that.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
So if one is gone, they both should be gone. If one is there, they both should be there.
I see. Okay.
This is why we need Giselle to plan all the shows.
I know.
This is why, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, get
Okay.
you an EP on
I
credit on
mean,
every show.
Andy,
yeah,
are you
that's-
listening?
Oh, well, cheers to that and cheers to
Okay, so that's what Giselle said. Okay, and I can't believe I agree with Giselle Jamal Bryant. That's not her name, but I can't believe I agree with her. Like if this was on Potomac, if Giselle, if Britt Eady would have threatened Giselle, who I also believe is a production puppet as well. Okay, because she would do whatever I feel like she would do whatever they need to say to do to stay on the show. Okay, if she's saying that, then come on now, come on. Like, why did production not step in? Because they have their fades. They know what they like, and they don't. If they don't like you, they don't like you. They will protect Portia, but they're not going to protect Kenya. I don't know why. I don't know why. But the last person I forgot to add is Andy. Add Andy to the list. I blame Andy. I blame Andy because why haven't you had Kenya on Watch What Happens Live to kind of have her own like sit down and talk? If Andy would have Kenya on Watch What Happens Live, his flop of a show would actually be worth watching. Okay, he'll probably have the highest views of this year. And it's only what, January, February, March, April this year if he have Kenya on his show. But also, I believe that all the Real Housewives, besides Salt Lake, is in a flop era. Look at New York. I think they are being on pause or whatever. That last season with Bryn lying and all that. Whew, no. Who else we got? New Jersey canceled or on pause. Who else? Miami. Y'all barely giving Miami any love. Y'all give them this little rinky-dink time slot. Like, come on. And then who else? Dubai. I didn't watch the last season of Dubai. I gave up on them. They was boring. I gave up on them. So I believe that bravo Andy. I believe that why are y'all treating Kenya differently than, like, let's say Karen, who had a DUI and hit a tree, but y'all allowed her to stay home from the reunion and film her own little special for her own, like with nobody having to combat what she's saying or nothing. No one can hold her accountable or nothing. But y'all can't have Kenya on the reunion. Monique, she dragged Candace across the table. She was allowed to come to the reunion and state her piece and try to shame everybody else with her binder. Why Kenya can't come with a poster board? Okay. I don't know if I already said this, but I just can't stand the fact that Britt Eady kept on changing her. Oh, I was underage when those pictures happened. I was underage. Okay, it was underage, but you never did corn. Okay, and then but you did webcam. You did webcam, but you didn't do corn. But when you did webcam, you was in your 20s, but you never did. So where did those pictures come from? Shouldn't you be suing your ex or whoever posted those videos online for Kenya to get? This is all a lie. Andy, how about y'all? Because with Salt Lake City, that was a new city, and that's doing really well. How about just finding another city? Like, we're tired of the old, same old, same old. We're tired of Atlanta. Maybe Atlanta has ran their course. Let's move on from Atlanta. They got other places. Real Housewives of Tennessee. Real Housewives of Nashville. Okay, Real Housewives of Houston. Real Housewives of Houston would go hard. Get some girls from River Oaks and Woodlands and all these different places and put them in together. Oh, Come on, like get new production company, hire a new production company. This can't be Truly Original. Can't be the only production company in the world, or is that the only production company that will allow y'all? I don't know. Let me not say what I think I'm thinking I'm about to say, but let me. I don't know. I don't know. But Real Housewives of Atlanta is definitely giving basketball wise, and not the good one, the bad one, the boring one, not the one with Tammy and Evelyn. I'm talking about this one with Brittany Renner. Okay. All right, y'all. I think that's all I got left to talk about. I said, let me just run down the points. I said we're gonna blame Bravo first, because that's who Bravo's number one. Then we blaming Truly Original because they right up under them. Then we blaming Andy because he right up under them. And then we're gonna blame Portia because she a pet. And then we're gonna blame production hiring fans. I'm not gonna blame Britt. I'm just blame production hiring fans because let's say even with Salt Lake City when they hired old girl Monica, she was a fan and she was a troll. Okay, and then we're gonna also blame the fact that the audience, we're not falling for the trickery of production. The third wall or the fourth wall is broken. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for making it to the end of my video. I really appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for giving me a chance. Please like and subscribe and share with your friends. If you agree with what I said and you want somebody else to agree with you, go ahead and share this video with them and say, girl, do you agree? And see what they say. Because I know I'm not the only one. You saw on Twitter, that's all they talking about. How this is the flop era. Okay, they got articles about it. I'm not making this up. So don't come over here and be like, you're making it up. You're making this up. Okay, y'all. All right, y'all. I'm gonna see y'all in the next one. Bye.